Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna devotees, please accept my humble obeisances of Glashishwar Prabhupada. Welcome devotees to morning Bhagavatam class. This morning we have a speaker that many of us have seen on Chandramauli Swami's classes twice a month. And we have heard her voice, we have heard her feedback, we have heard her expert comments and input and knowledge. She's none other than Sri Devi Prabhu, who is a very senior disciple of His Holiness Chandramauli Swami. I'm very happy that she's going to be giving the class. For those of you who may not know so much about her, by the mercy of Krishna and Guru, I've known her since the old Gitanagari days, as we say, when she was pursuing her PhD at Penn State University, and she would regularly visit us. We started, I think, our first meeting at the New Year's Eve Music of the Heart. This was probably before 2000, long time ago. Sri Devi is actually a family and marriage counsel licensed therapist and practitioner. She's also a medical doctor. So she has actually she is licensed to counsel anyone who has any personal, marriage, family issues, and even medical issues, because she's a medical practitioner. And she is also a practitioner, a medical doctor in pediatrics. So we are actually very happy that she's going to be one of our speakers. Without further delay, thank you so much, Prabhu, for agreeing to give class. It's all yours.
Anasuya, you are such a wonderful host. I cannot expect anything less than this from you. My humble obeisance.
Sri Devi, you're on mute.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Nope, still muted.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
I'm not hearing your voice. Is anyone able to hear, or is it just me?
I can hear.
If I can hear some messages, that would be great. Yes. It's just me, so go ahead. It's just me, so it's my problem.
Okay.
You're good now. See, I'm not too tacky savvy. You can tell that, Sri Devi.
No, that's okay.
I'm still learning.
Humble obeisances, all glories to Srila Prabhupada and all glories to our wonderful spiritual masters, His Holiness Bhaktivedanta Swami, His Holiness Chandramauli Swami, who have united us like this in Bhakti. It's a great joy. It's a great honor and privilege to be with all of you today. I'm very grateful for Anasuya because she's the first person who actually invited me to Gitanagari to come and spend my university break, and I'll never ever forget that. I'll always be grateful for that wonderful invitation. Actually, Anasuya,
I think that opened up the lifelong connection, Sri Devi.
Yes, because of your mercy, because of your compassion, I really connected with Gitanagari in a very meaningful way by spending my first Christmas break there and making very strong connections with the devotees and of course with the wonderful deities and with Bhaktivedanta Maharaj. So I was very blessed by that. And I can never forget the mercy of all of you, Gitanagari devotees and Bhaktivedanta Maharaj devotees. You were the first devotees actually in America to give me mercy and connect me to Bhakti Yoga. So you all have a very special place in my heart. And it is through you all that I met my Guru Maharaj, whom you all brought on campus to give lectures. So I owe my Shiksha Guru connection and my Diksha Guru connection to you all.
Haribol. Thank you for allowing me to serve you in some small way, Prabhu.
I can never ever repay the debt that I owe you.
Oh,
Seriously.
Krishna Chaitanya. All messages come to our spiritual masters.
Haribol. Okay, so we have several people online, including your lovely daughter, whom I saw growing up in Gitanagari, Vishakha, who is now Vraja Kishori, I believe. So I will say
She's actually, the second daughter is Vraja Gopi Vishakha.
okay.
And the first one is now, the first daughter, her name is Manoharini Vrinda.
Manoharini Vrinda, very beautiful names. And of course, Parikshit Prabhu, I can never forget him too. And the Satyam soaps. And all
Hare
the
Krishna.
Remember those days? You had your
Yes.
little shop, you would buy things from there. degree in chemistry, so I can do all this stuff.
Hare Krishna. Accept my humble obeisances. Glory to
My
you.
humble obeisance.
Yeah.
Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyayo cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. So today, Anusuya and Parikshit Prabhus have asked me to speak on Srimad Bhagavatam 1:13:10, and we will begin with the invocation prayers. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtiki. So continuing, I think, from our reading of Srimad Bhagavatam, this is the chapter where Dhritarashtra quits home. So it goes like this. Bhavad vidha bhagavatas tirtha bhuta swayam vibho tirthi kurvanti tirthani swantastena gadabhrita. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. And who is speaking over here? Yudhishthira Maharaj is talking to Vidur. My Lord, devotees like your good self are verily holy places personified. Because you carry the personality of Godhead within your heart, you turn all places into places of pilgrimage. Purport. The personality of Godhead is omnipresent by his diverse potencies everywhere, just as the power of electricity is distributed everywhere within space. Similarly, the Lord's omnipresence is perceived and manifested by his unalloyed devotees like Vidur, just as electricity is manifested in an electric bulb. A pure devotee like Vidur always feels the presence of the Lord everywhere. He sees everything in the potency of the Lord and the Lord in everything. The holy places all over the earth are meant for purifying the polluted consciousness of the human being by an atmosphere surcharged with the presence of the Lord's unalloyed devotees. If anyone visits a holy place, he must search out the pure devotees residing in such holy places, take lessons from them, try to apply such instructions in practical life, and thus gradually prepare oneself for the ultimate salvation, going back to Godhead. To go to some holy place of pilgrimage does not mean only to take a bath in the Ganga or Yamuna, or to visit the temples situated in those places. One should also find representatives of Vidur who have no desire in life save and except to serve the personality of Godhead. The personality of Godhead is always with such pure devotees because of their unalloyed service, which is without any tinge of fruitive action or utopian speculation. They are in the actual service of the Lord, specifically by the process of hearing and chanting. The pure devotees hear from the authorities and chant, sing, and write the glories of the Lord. Mahamuni Vyasadeva heard from Narada, and then he chanted in writing. Shukadev Goswami studied from his father, and he described it to Parikshit. That is the way of Srimad Bhagavatam. So, by their actions, the pure devotees of the Lord can render any place into a place of pilgrimage, and the holy places are worth the name only on their account. Such pure devotees are able to rectify the polluted atmosphere of any place, and what to speak of a holy place rendered unholy by the questionable actions of interested persons who try to adopt a professional life at the cost of the reputation of a holy place. Hari Bol. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. So Yudhishthira Maharaj is glorifying Vidur. Vidur, who is Vidur actually? He is actually Yamaraj, and he took birth in this particular pastime as the son of Vyasadev and a servant maid, actually, a Shudrani. And that was a curse. You must have read it in the previous verses, how that happened. Manduka Muni cursed him, Yamaraj, to take birth as a Shudra, and that is how he took birth as a Shudra. But of course, his knowledge was intact. His transcendental loving service to Krishna was intact. And so therefore, he continued to give transcendental knowledge to all and to guide the Pandavas, to help the Pandavas, and especially his elder brother Dhritarashtra, who was blind physically also and blind in spiritual life also. So, but because he was greatly insulted by Duryodhana during the time of Kurukshetra war, he just took off and went on a pilgrimage. And now he's coming back. And Yudhishthira Maharaj is welcoming him and posing so many questions to him. And Vidur is very pleased to answer. So this is the etiquette. Once when one comes across a greatly learned personality, even a king will get up from the throne, come down and offer a seat of respect, will offer worship, will offer sweet words, will offer hospitality and glorification. So we have to learn from the great souls how to honor other great souls. And this is the etiquette that Yudhishthira Maharaj is following. And what does he say in glorification of Vidur? He says, you yourself are like a holy place personified. Why? Because you are so pure that you're carrying the personality of Godhead in your heart. And because Krishna is the purest of the pure, whoever carries him, immediately that whole place becomes sanctified. And so that place becomes a place of pilgrimage. What a beautiful glorification, isn't it? And here, Srila Prabhupada is giving a very striking example. So we can see that electricity is there everywhere, but it has to be harnessed. And then when you light up, when you put on the switch, the bulb lights up, and then you perceive the brilliant light within that. You see the transparent glass bulb, but you can see that coil, and that coil, once it's illuminated, it gives so much light and illumination to the whole room. Similarly, those whose hearts are so pure that everything about them is aligned with the mission of the Lord, they are like that light bulb, because they carry the Lord in their hearts, in their pure hearts. Therefore, they purify any place they are in. So, Krishna is not easily captured, but the pure devotees have captured him. How? Because of their purity, because of their intense desire to carry out the instructions of the Lord, to carry out the mission of the Lord. They have become repositories of that divine personality, Sri Krishna, in their hearts. Another example is Narad Muni. Narad Muni is known as Devarishi. He's known as the saint among the demigods, among the rishis, among the demigods. And he goes from place to place. Why? To give knowledge, to give enlightenment. And by his words, people become purified. Dhruva Maharaj, and then Narad Muni also purified and taught pure transcendental knowledge in the womb to Prahlad Maharaj. So he delivered the sons of Mani Kuvera, Manigriva and Nana Kuvera by cursing them to become trees until they got liberation from Krishna. And actually that was saving them from falling down to a degraded condition of life. So these are very great personalities whose only desire is the welfare of the conditioned souls. They have no other desire. They have no self-interest. They have no personal desire for enjoyment. They are not into mental speculation. They are not into austerities or penances to harness mystic power for themselves. They have no desire save and except to carry out the program of the Lord. And what is Krishna's program? It is to bring all the conditioned souls back to Him. So here it is explained that where will we find these pure devotees? In the holy places all over the earth, where the Lord has performed His pastimes, or the Lord has taken birth in that particular place, such as Mayapur, Vrindavan, carried out His pastimes, or the other holy places that He visited on pilgrimage. There we will find holy people. So when we find holy people, what are we supposed to do? We must find them and we must hear from them, Shravanam. Because these pure devotees are simply hearing from the real source, the authorities, they will pass on the message as it is, without any change, without any addition, without any personal motivation. They will give the pure message as it is to the conditioned souls. So the instruction is, you visit a holy place, you first find out the pure devotees and give an attentive ear to hearing the message of the Supreme Personality of Godhead that is coming from the mouths of these pure devotees, whose only intent is the same as the Lord's, to bring us closer back to the lotus feet of Krishna. Krishna longs for us to come back to Him. In fact, He desires more that we come back to Him. We don't feel so much the desire to go back to Krishna because we are still so much involved with the material energy. But the pure devotees are not like that. They know very clearly that this material world is dukkhalayam ashashvatam, and they are constantly striving to uplift the consciousness of the conditioned souls and bring them to the reality, bring them out of the illusion of thinking this is the best place to be in, this is all in all, I'm here to enjoy myself, I'm here to satisfy my senses. They said, no, this is not a place of enjoyment, this is a place of suffering. This is not a place where you get any real knowledge, this is a place of ignorance. And so they teach us by their own personal example, because they practice Bhakti Yoga in purity. Pure devotional service is not an easy thing, but they have attained that stage of pure devotional service, and therefore they have captured Krishna. So, Srila Prabhupada writes over here, to go to some holy place of pilgrimage does not mean only take a bath in the Ganga, Yamuna, visit the temples. One should find representatives of Vidur who have no desire in life save and except to serve the personality of Godhead. And why? Because Krishna is always with such pure devotees because of their unalloyed service, which is without any tinge of fruitive action or utopian speculation. They are actually in service of the Lord, specifically by the process of hearing and chanting. So, the devotional process of hearing, Shravanam, is the basis, it is the foundation, it is the bedrock of our Krishna consciousness. There are 9 processes of devotional service: Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Padasevanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Archanam, Sakhyam, Atma Nivedanam. So every process actually involves the first step, hearing. So therefore, there is such a great importance given to hearing. Hearing is the key for us to then engage more and more in the process of Krishna consciousness. Because the more we hear about Krishna, the more we are attracted to Krishna. The more we are attracted to Krishna, the more we want to serve Krishna. The more we serve Krishna, the more we fall in love with Krishna and reawaken what is already there, loving service to Krishna. Because this is the nature of the soul. The soul is part and parcel of Krishna, a tiny fragment of the Supreme Whole, and is also eternal, blissful, and full of knowledge. So this is actually who we really are, loving servitors of Krishna. But because we have fallen away from the spiritual world and we have fallen into this material world, we are covered by the layers of the material energy, and we have forgotten our relationship with Krishna. Therefore, the pure devotees that are there to remind us, hey, wake up, Jeev Jago, get up, don't be in slumber, don't be in ignorance, don't think you're this body, because this body is a perishable thing. Don't waste so much time trying to beautify, preserve, do this and do that to your body. It's going to perish sooner or later. Instead, take care of your soul, which is the real you. You know, the beautiful example is given of devotees in the early days. They would perform a drama of the lady, you know, beautifying the cage of the bird and forgetting to feed the bird. And one fine day, the poor bird is dead. So, Srila Prabhupada said, this is soul-killing civilization. So don't let our souls be killed at this slaughterhouse, you know, of modern education and modern everything, which is so-called modern. But actually, it's a very demoniac situation we are in. So our only hope is to hear from the pure devotees of the Lord, because they are fully aligned with the mission of the Lord. They have no other desire, and their hearts are completely pure, and they are transcendental. That means they are above the modes of material nature, and they are no longer subject to things that we are subject to. Lust, anger, greed, illusion, pride, envy, jealousy, envy, insecurities, fears, worries, tension. These are the things that affect us because we are still caught up in the modes of material nature. We are not free of the modes. But the pure devotees, they are above the modes of material nature. They are situated in pure transcendence, and they can free us from the modes of material nature. That is why it is so important to approach a pure devotee of the Lord, because only one who is free can free us. Supposing I'm in shackles, what's the point of going to somebody else who's also in shackles? Only one whose hands and legs are free, he can free us, he or she. Therefore, the instruction is tad vidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshati te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshinaha. Just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master. Inquire from him submissively and render service unto him. The self-realized soul can impart knowledge unto you because he has seen the truth. Very famous verse, isn't it? Bhagavad Gita 4:34. There it is clearly mentioned why we should approach a pure, bona fide spiritual master, because he has seen the truth. And therefore, one who has seen the truth, who is situated in perfect knowledge, can give us instructions to free ourselves and to attain the goal of the human form of life, which is to go back home, back to Godhead, permanently ending the cycle of repeated birth and death. So therefore, hearing from the pure souls becomes extremely important. So then further examples are given how the pure devotees have done this by the process of hearing. Mahamuni Vyasadeva heard from Narad Muni, and then he wrote the Srimad Bhagavatam. Shukadev Goswami studied from his father, and then he spoke Srimad Bhagavatam to Maharaj Parikshit, enlightening him and all the other sages, right? And because of that, speaking of Srimad Bhagavatam, today we have the Srimad Bhagavatam given to us by the pure devotee of the Lord, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The savior of the whole universe, Srila Prabhupada, the pure devotee of the Lord, has given us this Srimad Bhagavatam, so that simply by reading the Srimad Bhagavatam, our natural love for Krishna will be awakened more and more. And because it is Amala Purana, it is completely without the taint of any fruitive activity and simply describes pure devotional service, we will understand what is what. Srila Prabhupada says, only a devotee understands what is what. He says this in the Bhagavad Gita. So by their actions, what do the pure devotees do? They make any place into a place of pilgrimage. And what to speak of what is happening in holy places now, people who are unscrupulous. What is the meaning of this word unscrupulous? It means those who have no scruples, those who have no conscience, those who have no qualms about exploiting the situation for their personal gain. They exploit the sentiments of the people who come to a holy place of pilgrimage, mislead them, exploit them, extort money from them, and then the place gets a bad reputation, isn't it? But the holy places are rendered holy. Why? Because the holy people, the genuine holy people come and they purify the place of pilgrimage. They speak the pure words of Krishna and they sanctify even such a place. In fact, Mother Ganga, when she was descending, when she was asked to descend, she was very worried She asked the Lord, how will I come and, be over here in Kali Yuga? So many people are going to come and bathe in my waters and leave all their sinful reactions. I will become so polluted, so contaminated. And then the Lord assured her, don't worry. The pure devotees will come and bathe in your waters and they will purify you. Yes. And this actually happened when Srila Prabhupada, I will relate to you a very nice and very beautiful anecdote that establishes who Srila Prabhupada is. Ardha Kumbh Mela was going on in Allahabad and Srila Prabhupada was there, right there. And one man with his son, he came with a big plate and he offered, Ganges water, washed Srila Prabhupada's lotus feet, took that water, sprinkled it on his head and offered that water to everyone. And he said, what, I will go to the Ganga to bathe. I will bathe in this Charanamritam of yours and I will even carry this water back and put it in Ganga because you will be purifying her. So all the devotees were amazed to see the knowledge of this simple, humble person who understood the position of Srila Prabhupada, who understood a genuine holy person, that he has come to purify everyone, including Mother Ganga, who, poor thing, is taking on the sinful reactions of so many people in her waters. This is the position of Srila Prabhupada. Another person who saw Srila Prabhupada's facial features, he was actually some kind of an astrologer. Atma Tattvavit Prabhu relates this. And he started looking at Prabhupada's picture very closely because Atma Tattvavit Prabhu had given a book. Then he took measurements and everything. And then finally he said, 4 acharyas have come together in this personality just to spread Krishna consciousness to save the world. This is how powerful Srila Prabhupada is. Of course, he never revealed who he is. In fact, when devotees asked, who are you, Srila Prabhupada, in the spiritual world? Srila Prabhupada said, that you do not require. He refused to reveal who he was. At another time, he said, yes, if I tell you everything, you will faint. So, Srila Prabhupada has come, and what is more important, he has given us a wonderful parampara of pure devotees, our spiritual masters who are purifying us because of their purity. Bhakti Tirtha Swami, Bhakti Charu Swami, Sachinandan Swami, Radhanath Swami, Devamrita Swami. So many Guru Maharajas are there now who are following the example of Srila Prabhupada to the letter, and they are purifying us. They are giving us these instructions by which our lives are slowly getting more and more purified. We are slowly and slowly understanding the value of bhakti by practicing Krishna consciousness and by trying to follow the instructions of the pure devotee spiritual master who can sanctify even a place of pilgrimage. See the power, see the potency of the pure devotee of the Lord. In fact, all the demigods reside in the body of the pure devotee of the Lord. All the demigods. Such is the power of the pure devotee. He can deliver anyone. One moment's association, not even one, a fraction. Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Shastra Koi, Lava Matra Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Siddhi Koi. All success one can attain simply by 1/11th of the second of the association of pure devotee. Such is the power of the pure devotee. So some of the early devotees, they asked Srila Prabhupada, we are having so much association, but we are still so, why we are not becoming pure devotees? So Srila Prabhupada laughed and he said, yes, but how many lifetimes you have been in this material world? So it is a gradual process. It is a slow process, and it is a process where we have to be persevering, patient, enthusiastic, tolerant, firm, fixed, focused, and absolutely convinced that this is the way we want to go. So how this faith will come about? Faith comes by staying in the association of devotees, by hearing about the pure devotees, hearing the pastimes of the Lord with his devotees, and seeing how they are carrying out their lives in Krishna consciousness. And therefore, we get enthusiasm by hearing the pastimes of the Lord and hearing the pastimes of the pure devotees. We become enthused, we become encouraged in our bhakti. That yes, sometimes we may have slip-ups, we may have fall downs, we may have obstacles, we may have difficulties, but we don't let that stop our onward march in Krishna consciousness. We pick ourselves up, dust ourselves off and said, yes, I had a fall, but I will get up and keep walking. So we do not want to lose even one chance to serve the pure devotees, because by serving the pure devotee of the Lord, Krishna becomes pleased. And when Krishna is pleased, what more we want? Srila Prabhupada said that when Krishna smiles upon you, what more you want? And Krishna himself says, and I will share this, Krishna himself is declaring, this is a very beautiful verse which is quite often quoted. It's quoted in Srimad Bhagavatam 4. Do you want me to screen share, my dear Anasuya? I can.
Yes, Prabhu, you can go ahead, Sridevi.
Okay.
I can stop sharing. You can just go jump right in.
Okay, so what I will do is I will share this beautiful verse because it's really very beautiful, but it says host disabled participant screen sharing. That's what
Okay,
it says.
let me see. This is when I need my kids with me to help me.
Hare Krishna
Okay, no
Mataji.
problem. I'll just
Dear
read it out.
Krishna, you know what to do. Dear Krishna, go ahead.
Yeah, I will not have the permission, but what you can do on Mataji's name in the participant, you can right click. Or
Okay, I got my first daughter here.
God, you're covered.
If I have these girls, I don't have to worry too much. What am I what are you doing, kid?
Okay, you tell me when, and I will click on screen share. Or we can directly go to the verse. I can tell you the verse number and you can put it up.
I think you can do it now.
Okay.
Yeah, now try.
Yay!
Perfect. I had to make you co-host, so that's what I learned something new today. Okay, good.
Yeah. Naham tisthami vaikunthe yoginam hridayeshu va tatra tisthami narada yatra gayanti mad bhaktaha. I am not in Vaikuntha, nor in the hearts of the yogis. I remain where my devotees engage in glorifying my activities. So it is to be understood that the Supreme Personality of Godhead does not leave the company of his devotees. So he is where the pure devotees of the Lord are glorifying him. That's where he is to be found. And that is why we need the association of those pure devotees, because they're constantly glorifying the Lord. They're constantly singing of his name, fame, qualities, pastimes, entourage, and they are teaching us by their example how to fall in love with Krishna. And actually, Srila Prabhupada said this. I'm not making up stuff, believe me. Srila Prabhupada said, as we go deeper and deeper and deeper into bhakti, you will have a spiritual television in your heart, and you will see the pastimes of the Lord in your heart, and you will be able to enter into the pastimes of the Lord. So of course, this is all very exalted state. We can only hear of these things, but at least by knowing about these things, it is an impetus for us to purify our hearts, to make it a pure, clean place where the Lord will be happy to come and perform his pastimes. And what is that cleaning up process? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So the cleaning up process begins with the tongue. Srila Prabhupada said the tongue has only two businesses: take Krishna Prasadam and chant Hare Krishna. Of course, once we engage in bhakti, we know that there is more to it than simply chanting Hare Krishna, but this is the foundation. Everything, actually, our spiritual progress depends on the quality of our chanting. The more attentive, the more devotional, the more focused, the more in the mood of a child calling out, imploring, beseeching, crying out to the mother. This is the mood we need to have. The more Krishna will hear and respond. It's like in the material world, if I just say, Anasuya, immediately Anasuya looks up and says, yes, what? Isn't it? Or I will say, Parikshit Prabhu, Parikshit Prabhu will turn around and say, yes, what? So when we say Krishna, why will Krishna not say, yes, what do you want? So we must call out to Krishna like that, in the mood of, I really want you, Krishna. I really want to be with you. Huh? John Harrison sang this song, isn't it? My sweet Lord, I really want to be with you. I really want to see you. So we must have this mood that yes, I want to see Krishna. I want to be with Krishna. In fact, I was with Krishna and I lost his association. And here I am, floundering in the material world. Please help me to reconnect with my Krishna. And who will help us with that? The pure devotee of the Lord, the pure spiritual masters. Why? Because they're completely in love with Krishna. They carry Krishna in their heart. And only by their mercy we can approach Krishna. We cannot approach Krishna on our own. That's not possible. Krishna can only be approached by his pure devotees. And therefore, we offer our most humble obeisances to our dear spiritual masters who have sown the seed of bhakti into our stone-like hearts. Our hearts were like stone, and somehow they found a crack and they put that seed over there. So merciful. And by watering of that seed, little by little by little, the crack has split open now, and then that little seedling is growing. What a wonderful miracle, isn't it? That the spiritual master has given us the seed of bhakti. So our duty now is to nourish this seedling so that it grows and grows and grows and brings forth fruits and flowers and spreads the fragrance and sweetness of Krishna consciousness everywhere to one and all. So I will stop over here. I hope this has been helpful and informative and educational and blissful, hopefully. And we will now open up for questions, comments, corrections, realizations. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Sri Devi, for such a wonderful class. Very inspiring, I have to say, very inspiring, very uplifting, very uplifting. And I'm sure many of us felt that way. I can definitely see it on my husband's face, Parikshit's face. So, and it's been very, very sweet. Would like to ask devotees if any questions, any comments, any reflections, please. Yes, Dear Krishna, go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Mother, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Like Mataji said, really, really wonderful, very, very vibrating class. Thank you so much. I'm sure all of us were totally hooked. couldn't leave even a word of it. One beautiful point, Mother, you made was about the mission of the Lord. So when we hear from so many devotees, and every devotee has their own way of service, their own way of understanding probably the mission of the Lord, how can we reconcile it together? Because that's very important. Unless especially in the whole Canto 1 and Canto 2, by Srila Prabhupada, stressed so much emphasis on understanding these two cantos, that they are the legs of Bhagavatam, is because it totally tells us about the mission of the Lord, understanding, making sure we are in alignment with the mission of the Lord. So how to make sure we understand and we are able to reconcile it with so many points, so many viewpoints in the outside there.
Yes, we may get confused. You may say, oh, this Prabhu, this Swami, this mentor, this guide, he's focused on book distribution. That person is saying prasadam distribution is important. Somebody is saying Varnashram Dharma is important. Somebody is saying cow protection. So which is the one thing? The mission within the mission is what is being taken up by each of these people. The mission is very broad. The mission is very big. The 7 purposes of ISKCON. You know, what all those 7 purposes of ISKCON, if you read, Srila Prabhupada wants a full cultural, spiritual revolution at all levels. So each of us can plug into what is important and beneficial and what we are inclined for. But the overall mission of the Lord is one, to bring the conditioned souls back to his holy, divine realm, Golok Vrindavan. That is the only single overarching mission of the Lord. All the others are submissions within that mission. Cow protection is important. Protection of the elderly, the brahmanas, the cows, the women, the children is important. Varnashram dharma is important. Book distribution is important. Food distribution, prasadam distribution. Every aspect of Krishna consciousness is huge, isn't it? But the whole package is to do what? Bring the conditioned soul back to Krishna. That is the only overarching mission and goal of the Lord.
Thank you so much, Mother. Thank you. Hare
That
Krishna.
was a nice question there,
Nice
Krishna.
question.
Thank you.
Very nice question.
Any other questions from devotees? Any comments, any reflections, realization? Please do unmute yourself and speak and share your thoughts. I really liked the sweet pastimes that you shared about your Prabhupada. And it just gives one goose, at least for me, gives me goosebumps. It's such a beautiful pastime. And especially to see the potency of Srila Prabhupada. I think I was reading somewhere, I'm trying to think where, just like 3-4 days ago. And someone was saying that Srila Prabhupada is so potent that there is no one that has done what he has done in the history of any religion. So
Yes.
it is so clear that he was sent by the Lord. It's not any other ordinary soul or any other acharya or any other whatever. He's just been plucked, by the Lord and taken up by the Lord. And it's such a living example for us that one cannot think, oh, I'm done hearing. I mean, it is like the more we hear about Srila Prabhupada, the more our taste increases, I feel, to want to know what more does Srila Prabhupada do, what more does Srila Prabhupada do, what more does Srila Prabhupada do,
Seriously. You're telling me this about Srila Prabhupada remind me of another very beautiful pastime. Srila Prabhupada was still on planet Earth and they were making murtis of Srila Prabhupada to be installed in various temples and Guru Puja to be done and all. So one Swamigal, some very holy person from the south, I think Madhvacharya Sampradaya, some Sampradaya, traveled all the way on his own, spending his money. I think he came from Hyderabad or something. He came to Bombay to meet Srila Prabhupada because he was so concerned for Srila Prabhupada. He said, you are allowing this Guru Puja worship. So many sinful people will come. They will touch your lotus feet and they will, deposit all their sinful reactions and this is not good and this and that. And the Srila Prabhupada listened patiently to the whole thing and he said, don't you understand? That is why I have come. He was willing to take on all the sinful reactions of so many people touching his lotus feet. And he said, don't you realize that is why I have come? That person stopped speaking, completely dumbfounded. He offered his obeisances. He circled Srila Prabhupada 3 times, offered prostrated obeisances without a single word, and he left. Yes. He was so concerned that what will happen to Srila Prabhupada because so many people will be coming, deposit. And Srila Prabhupada said, don't you know that's why I have come? How magnanimous, how merciful, how compassionate, how unbelievably kind and generous and charitable and benevolent. I mean, there's no words to describe how much Srila Prabhupada is willing to suffer to save us souls.
Amazing pastime.
Yes.
It's really beautiful. It's really beautiful. And that is also why, for those who have not chosen a spiritual master yet, that they are told that your Prabhupada is the preeminent guru. Like he's had that much mercy. That even if they haven't chosen a spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada is a preeminent guru. You take shiksha from his, and then he will guide you to a spiritual master. Like it's just so much mercy packed in it.
Right.
So much mercy.
Guru for all time, for the next 10,000 years, Srila Prabhupada's books are the law books for us.
Amazing.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Thank you for bringing out yet another facet of Srila Prabhupada's mercy.
Oh yeah, so nice. Absolutely. Any comments from devotees? Any thoughts, reflections, realization questions? Yes, Varna Goranga.
Hare Krishna, Mother. Please accept my
Hare
respectful
Krishna,
obeisances.
Prabhu.
All Krishna.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Please
It
accept
was
my.
very wonderful. Hare Krishna Mother. So it was a very wonderful class, very wonderful class. I joined late when he was reading the purport from Srila Prabhupada. And so when I was hearing the purport, the first question came in mind when he was talking about the holy places, like going to the Ganga. You should not just take the bath. You should hear from self-realized or Krishna's pure devotees, hear from them. And that's the best association. So the first question came in my mind was, how can we find such devotees? And then later on, you explained everything, whom we call the self-realized soul. So that gives me one reflection when my Guru Maharaj, Srimad, His Holiness Radha Govind Das Goswami Maharaj, he was explaining in Srimad Bhagavatam, he one pastime he narrated, like one time, the same way the Gangaji actually approached Krishna, Mukti also approached Krishna and says, how can I get delivered? I've been delivering everyone. So then Gopal replied to her, say, hey, come to Vrindavan and then just stay here. The Raj, the dust coming from Vrindavan, going to touch you and you'll get liberated. Because that touch, the dust is coming from the lotus feet of my devotees. And that's how you'll get liberated. But the question now one I have in my mind, it's kind of concern. We've been hearing about Srila Prabhupada, even the devotees hearing, chanting the glories of it. We've been hearing it, but sometimes the main thing lacking is the utsahat, nishayat, dhairya, right? So we don't get encouraged. So hearing again and again, we take it so much granted. Even about Prabhupada also, we've been hearing about him all the time, but we've been following him, so we take him so granted that the glorification, the respect, what we're supposed to have, sometimes we do not have that much because he's our own. So sometimes we just neglect certain instructions. So how can we encourage ourselves in this moment to, when we hear, we should follow what we're hearing. Sometimes we don't follow. We just hear and then ignore it. So how can we encourage ourselves? What is the process to keep
very true, you know.
Constant?
Actually, if we go deeper into Krishna consciousness, then only we can sustain. If we just stay at surface level, you know, then Maya, you know, we easily get picked up by Maya. So therefore, we must try to go deeper and deeper into Krishna consciousness, as you rightly said. Otherwise, we tend to be casual. And Srila Prabhupada said, casually means casualty. So let's not become casualties. We have to become deeper and deeper and deeper in Krishna consciousness. Because like the fish, you know, the fish that swim on the surface, very easily the bird captures the fish. But the ones which are deep down in the ocean, they never get caught because they're in the very deep depths of the ocean. So similarly in Krishna consciousness, no use sitting on the sideline and just dabbling our fingers and toes. We need to go diving deep in and really take to the process of Krishna consciousness, knowing that this is the only saving grace that we have in this material world. Really, we don't have any other shelter. What other shelter is there? What other shelter is there? Nothing, and no one can help at the time of death. Nothing. Only our Krishna consciousness. And time is running out. Time is running out. We don't know when we will be called. Give up this body. Time to go. And so, Srila Prabhupada said, everyone has to fly their own plane. Who teaches you to fly your own plane? The spiritual master. He is the one who gives you the key and tells you where to put it and how to fly your plane. He is the one. No one else can teach us that. And therefore, we must become very serious about following the words of Guru and Krishna. Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chitte Te Koriya Aikya Arana Kori Ho Mane Asha. Make the words emanating from the lotus mouth of our spiritual master one with your heart and do not desire anything else. Attachment to his lotus feet is the best means of spiritual advancement. Every day when we sing this prayer, Guru Puja, it's not just a prayer, it's not just we mouth the words, it's a deep meditation on the lotus feet of Gurudev, because that is our only shelter. And that is the abode of pure devotional service. And so we pray to the spiritual master, save me. Save me from my own nonsense, because my mind is such a rascal. So chanchal, takes me all over the place, gives me so much grief. Internet, look at this, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, media, this thing, that thing. It's constantly there, pulling this way, that way. Adhyatmika, Adhibhautika, Adhidevika, constantly harassing. Durga Devi is there, with a trident. So the only relief is what? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Now, because you have such a special name, I will tell you something. Swarna Gauranga, you are golden Gauranga. Bhaja Gauranga, Kaho Gauranga, Lao Gauranga, Namade. There's a beautiful song that if you sing all the time, no problem. You have such a beautiful name. Seeing your name.
Hare Krishna Mother. Actually, our Gauranita travels with us. So when I see Guru Maharaj, when he gave me Diksha, he was first question he asked, Gauranita travels with you? I said, yes, Maharaj. Then he saw Gauranga and he gave that name. Swarna Gauranga.
Yeah, just take the
Hare
name
Krishna.
of
Thank you very
Gauranga,
much. Very
worship
beautiful.
Gauranga. Yeah, beautiful. Very nice that you travel with deities and tell everybody the same thing. Gauranga, 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 Namade, Ejana Gauranga, Gauranga is so magnanimous, so munificent, so charitable that chandals, meat eaters, gamblers, drunkards, thieves, murderers, is giving everyone the mercy. Just imagine how wonderful. You are giving the mercy now by traveling with your everywhere. So you will always have the mercy, don't worry. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mother. Thank you for a wonderful answer, Mother. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
That was a very nice question, Swarna Gauranga. Very nice question.
Hare
Actually,
Krishna.
two things I want to share, and then we'll read the comments. Shridevi, when you're mentioning about, when we call someone by the name, that's when they turn. I remember 2 Sundays ago, myself and Mathura at the temple, we were trying to get Swarna Gauranga's attention. So I called him Swarna Gauranga, he didn't turn. Mathura called him Swarna Gauranga, he didn't turn. And I called Swarna Gauranga, he didn't turn. And then she called Swarna Gauranga Prabhu, he didn't turn. So I said, okay, Swarna Gauranga Das, he turned. I said, oh, I forgot to add a Das at the end. Then he turned, yes, someone called me. Hilarious. I said, okay, now when I go to add the Das at the end for you to turn. It was such a instant, it was a nice thing for us to really see. But I was, as you were speaking about going deeper, Shridevi, I was remembering a lecture by my spiritual master many years ago, because Swarna Gauranga used the word utsaha, enthusiasm, and sometimes, many times, because we're so caught up in our daily affairs, that Bhaktivedanta Swami said, in order for us to develop that mood, we have to hang out with those who have that mood, so that we become crazy like them. So if we want to be crazy, in fact, he said, to be part of ISKCON, we have to be crazy. You've heard him say that comments, have you not, Shridevi, before?
Thank you. I'm so happy to hear that now. I always suspected I was a bit crazy and I was, thinking about it. About the crazy.
In fact,
be careful, you're crazy.
Because I remember when you first came to Gitanagari, like for the Christmas, and then you were like us, crazy. And Bhaktivedanta Swami says, yeah, you fit right in because you're crazy like us.
He made the point though that you have to be crazy, but crazy for Krishna.
Exactly.
Right.
Thank you for clarifying. Not a crazy lunatic,
Yeah.
but he says in order for us to really dive deeper into Krishna consciousness, and like what Swarnagranga was asking the question, to really not take it casually. And thank you for mentioning that point. Casual means casualty. That's a really good point. I've heard that before. Such a very good reminder. When we take things very casually, it becomes a casualty. That's a very good point. That I think, and remembering Bhaktivedanta Swami's lectures, that if we want to dive deeper and not take it casually, we hang out with those who do not take it casually, and they really sincerely dive deeper and taking the instructions of spiritual master and the seniors and all that. That was what's coming to my mind as you were speaking. The diving deeper part was a very key point. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. And Shorab made a very nice point where he says, remembering Bhakti Chara Swami's word, Prabhupada is the Acharya of ISKCON for modern world.
Jai Srila Prabhupada.
I remember him saying that in one of our GBC college classes 3 years ago. He said that he's the Acharya of the ISKCON for modern world. And a nice question from Dear Krishna here. He says, how to make sure we are understanding the instructions and desire of our spiritual master, our eternal and eminent Shiksha Guru Srila Prabhupada.
By following the instructions and understanding the instructions of our spiritual master, who is strictly following Srila Prabhupada, we are following the instructions of Srila Prabhupada. Because those who are following Srila Prabhupada to the letter, they are the ones who are guiding us. So therefore, by pleasing them, we are pleasing Srila Prabhupada.
I hope that helped, Dear Krishna. I think he's going to put a post and say something. Yes, he said. Thank you, Mother. Yes.
Thank you.
That's a very nice question too. Very, very nice question.
Very nice.
It's so important because sometimes, and especially, I think proper disciples, gurus, sannyasis, they are always talking about Srila Prabhupada more than anything else. And their only goal, because they're all Guru Tattva, just one, and their only goal is how to please Srila Prabhupada, how to please Srila Prabhupada. Everything they do is how to please Srila Prabhupada, how to present him the right way. So yeah, that is very, very nice. And I think what Prakshit and I have been enjoying, and actually him more than me, is we play a lot of Prabhupada memories by his disciples. Oh my gosh, Sri Devi, it is pure nectar.
Pure nectar. Pure nectar and wonderful. You don't want to stop. It's addicting. You don't want to quit. You just want to hear more, more, more. The best addiction to have.
Completely. Last week we were hearing a Prabhupada memory by by Indradumya Swami. Prakshit just kept laughing and laughing because Maharaj would say the pastime so very calmly, then he'll throw in a comic, and then we're like, wait, he just took us off guard, and we'll be laughing and rolling. But it's so sweet, like you were saying, another facet of Srila Prabhupada, right? When we hear this Prabhupada memories, it's so beautiful.
Yeah, pure devotee is a full personality, not, serious all the time, I'm like that. Not like that. He's playful, he's naughty, he's mischievous, he has a wicked sense of humor. Srila Prabhupada was a ball of fun. Devotees around him, they never knew what would happen next. Next moment, there'll be a chastisement, there'll be a joke, there'll be an instruction. Srila Prabhupada was always instructing all the time with all the things that he said. He was he was poetry in motion. He was a living.
Can we tell one of them? Can we tell one?
Sure.
Okay. This devotee, I don't remember it wasn't in the Junior Swami, it's another Prabhupada disciple. And he said Ramananda Prabhu was getting help from a devotee, a new devotee.
Swarup. His name was Swarup.
Yeah, I know. Oh, yeah. His name is Swarup. Yes. Thank you for bringing it up. Yeah, because it very much connects with the whole pastime, actually. So this devotee, he said at that time, he was not initiated yet, and he was going to take shelter of Srila Prabhupada. But he was playing the role of secretary to Brahmananda Prabhu. And so when the time came for him to get initiated, Bhavananda Prabhu took it upon himself to go tell Srila Prabhupada that this particular Bhakta has done so nice job, service. He's playing the role of secretary for me. Can we call, and his name starts with S also, I think he's called Steve. Can we call him, can you please call him Swarup Damodar? Because Swarup Damodar was playing the role of secretary to Lord Chaitanya, and this particular guy has played such a nice job as secretary. The Baba looked at him and says, oh, so are you Lord Chaitanya? Swarup Damodar served Lord Chaitanya, and this guy served you, but are you Lord Chaitanya? So we have to call him Swarup Damodar? So then he started laughing about it. He was so funny. But finally, Srila Prabhupada kind of came halfway and called him Swarup Das. Instead of Swarup Das. So this is some of the things that we hear in this video, Prabhupada memories. Some of them are so funny, but they change emotions though, depending on one situation to another. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. This is what is called churning the nectar. When we all come together like this and churn the nectar, is so wonderful. Now we can go on and on like this till midnight. You don't have to, but then
It is such nice. Now, yeah, that was a very funny pastime with Prabhupada. Like you said, poetry in motion, completely poetry in motion. Absolutely. Any
every
other?
movement, every movement, every word, every gesture, every glance, every look. Somebody actually said his everything is like a dancer's mudras, different expressions, his finger movements, his gestures, his looks, his glance, everything was like a dancing, in dancing, how you have different mudras, like they're described like that.
Wow, beautiful, beautiful, amazing. Thank you so much. Any other last minute questions from devotees? I know we're all really enjoying the class and relishing the discussion and the sharing and the realizations and the questions. Such a beautiful time. That's why I look forward to the morning and evening classes, because I get to be greedy and get some nectar for myself to function the whole day. But if there are no questions, just a quick announcement is that tonight we are going to be going back to Bhagavad Gita, chapter 1, verse 1. And rather than reading it, now we're going to hear Srila Prabhupada give a class on the first chapter, verse 1, in depth. So we've done the reading of all the verses. Now we're going to go one by one. So please do join us this evening with Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada speaks on Bhagavad Gita, chapter 1, verse 1. And we're going to hear a lecture by Srila Prabhupada and at least gather one reflection, realization, and a takeaway for our personal needs. So please do join us this evening at 6 o'clock when, as we dive in with Srila Prabhupada this evening. Until then, thank you so much, Sri Devi, for a wonderful class. Thank you so much. Very, very inspiring, very uplifting.
The pleasure is all mine. The joy is all mine. And I just look forward to getting more nectar from all of you like this.
Oh, we look forward to your association, Prabhu. Thank you so much. And thank you to all the devotees. Vanchakapribhyascha, Kripasinubhaivacha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna, have a wonderful day. Hari Hari Bol. Thank you, Sri Devi.